Okay, everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is T, and today I am going to be doing a sewing vlog of this McCall's M7950. It's been a long time since I've done a sewing vlog, especially with an Ankara wax print, and so I am going to include this into the African wax print series. If you are not if you don't know anything about that series, I have a playlist, and I will go ahead and link that above, and you can go over and watch the playlist of my African wax print series. I am going to be doing view C. I'm not quite for certain if I want to do like the length of view A, because view A and view B are shorter skirts than view C, and I think also D. So I think C and D are the same. The only difference between the two views are the scraps. So view D scraps the tie at the top, whereas view C does not. And views A and B are the same. They just have like these little tie details at the front of the garment. So yeah. I want to do either one of these views, but I think I want to do the skirt of views A and B. I have chosen this Ankara wax print. If you have been following my channel and you have seen my Ankara wax print series, you probably have seen this before. And if not, you probably have seen it, you know, just because it's a really popular print. This piece is printed by Velisco. This is the authentic version of it. I have 4 yards here. The pattern calls for 3 1/4 yards. I'm thinking about making a bag, a matching bag to go with it, but we'll see. So the first thing that I need to do is take the labels off. So this is a pressing cloth here. And so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this moist, not wet, but moist, and I'm going to lay it on top of the labels, and then I'll take my iron and I will put it on the steam mode and then press that and release that the glue so that I can pull the stickers back with ease and they won't rip and stick to the fabric. So that's what I'm going to do right now. The stickers have been removed successfully and that process is completed. Now I can put it in the wash. Now I will be putting this in my washing machine on a delicate cycle, and I will not be wringing the fabric out. So I will select on my machine. It has the option where I can select do not spin. So there's a no spin cycle, and so I don't spin it. I just I take it out of the machine and I slowly not wring, but squeeze, like a soft squeeze, the water out. But most of the water is going to be dripping in my bathtub so that it's not going all over the floor. And also I'm not wringing the fabric as well. So that's what I have to do right now. And then I will be able to get started on the project. And so that will most likely be tomorrow when this is completely dried. Hello everyone, I am tuning in for the first time since the start of this project. I completely forgot to record my progress and I apologize about that. I'll go ahead and walk you through what I did so far. So this is the shell and the lining of the garment of the upper bodice, the upper part of the garment. I did not do the skirt yet, but let me tell you all of my preparations that I have done to get to this point and what I'm going to be doing after this point. So what I did is I transferred all of my bodice pieces on a transparent piece of paper. And the first test that I did, 2 tests, and the first test that I did, I had a size 16 for the bust, which is 40.5 inches, and a size 18 for the waist, which was 33.5 inches. So for the first test, I used a muslin, and I found that the waist was a bit too tight. And so, and that's largely because, number one, it's 33.5 inches. That's the finished measurements. And my waist is 33.5 inches. So I didn't have any room for ease. So that's one reason why I needed to go up. The second reason is because I plan to put a thin t-shirt or of some kind of tee underneath of my dress. And I am going to need room for that as well. So I decided to go up to a size 20. So for my second mock-up, I used the lining for my fabric because I knew at this point that the bust was okay and I just needed to go up slightly for the waist. And so instead of using another muslin and going through the motions with that, I just went ahead and used my lining for that second mock-up attempt. So it fit perfectly as I had suspected. And then I moved on to cutting out my pieces with for the shell of the garment. So the main print that you see here. And I came across a couple of things here. Now, this is a print that is not directional. However, because it has flowers and leaves and all kinds of designs on it, you still have to be careful when you are putting pieces together. So you still have to do some slight matching, and I was not expecting that, not completely anyway. And as you can see, so this is the front bodice and this is the side front. And as you can see, I have like a white and black leaf going into a blue leaf here. And I just don't, I mean, if you are wanting to be as accurate and professional as possible, then that sort of thing might bother you. If not, then you probably wouldn't care. For someone like me who lives in the details, it does bother me. So what I did, I went out to my local Walmart last night. Now, Walmart is my closest store to me that has fabric. So I'll have to go to Joann's if the fabric that I selected from Walmart last night, if that doesn't work out for me, I am going to have to go to Joann's. And that's not a problem because I was planning on going this week anyway. So what I did is I picked up this navy blue fabric from Walmart last night, and I'm going to remove this panel here, this side front panel, and I'm going to do a contrast here. Now, the fabric does not match completely. As you can see, it's a darker blue. So I'm going to see how that looks. And I am planning on matching this with some navy blue Converse. And I have to see if the Converse match the fabric or not. But we'll see. We'll see. So that's where I'm at right now. And I have to do the scraps for it. And that's my progress so far. I'll continue to update. am back with an update of my progress and what I am doing. So I was able to cut out all my pieces. In the beginning of the video, I didn't cut everything out. I just was working on the bodice portion of everything because that's what I started with to do my testing. I figured that I didn't need to cut out all these other pieces yet. So after assembling the bodice and making sure everything fits, I went ahead and I cut out, this is the front facing for the skirt. So I cut 2 pieces out for that. I just need to cut out 2 pieces for the inner facing. I cut out and assembled my scraps. So for views C, D, which is the view that I'm doing. Actually, I'm doing view C. I'm not going to be doing the ties because just in case I want to wear a cardigan over top of it, I don't want to have any bulk underneath my cardigan. So I'm going to do view C scraps. And I went ahead and I cut out the 4 scraps. All I have to do is trim back the seam allowance and then turn this in with my turner, press it flat, and then I will be done with the ties, and I can attach the ties to the bodice shell and the lining. So I'm about to do that. And then I also cut out the skirt pieces. For the skirt pieces, I did trace out the pattern pieces as well. And the reason why is because number one is much easier to work with the shorter pattern than working with the really long skirt. And I chose views B and C, or I'm sorry, A and B. And so it has a shorter skirt. And so I didn't have to worry about folding the pattern over so that I can get the length and all that other stuff. I just traced it out so that I can just work with this transparent piece of paper much easier. Also, I like to keep my original pattern just in case, you know, I get smaller or I get larger or whatever. So I cut out a size 20 to match the waist. As you can see here, I didn't make any alterations or anything like that. Really, the front and the back of the skirt is just a square piece. The back is a little bit shorter in length, so it doesn't have as much in the back than in the front. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this is going to turn out. But really, it's just one long rectangle or square. I would say it's more of a rectangle, both of the pattern pieces. I was not able to match the sides the way that I wanted to. I really tried, but with the amount of fabric that I am working with and also the design of the print, it's just impossible. I really tried to match the center seams the most because I don't really care about the side seams as much, but I do care about the center front. And so I really did try my hardest to match. Let's see, where's the center front here so I can show you. I tried my hardest to get the center front matched together. And so instead of having the pattern doubled in size, I cut each piece out individually except for the back piece, which is cut on the fold. But the front piece I did cut out individually because I tried to do a little bit of matching here to see if I can get like the leaves to kind of fall in line. It didn't really work, like I said, because of the amount of fabric that I'm working with. It's just not going to work. So I'm just going to have to be pleased with however this garment turns out. And it's so busy that maybe it won't even be noticeable. Hello everyone. All right, so right now I am working on the pockets. This is the center front of the garment. So this is the right front and this is the left front. And the buttons will go down here after I put the facing on and take out the seam allowance for that. And here are the pockets, and I'm going to go ahead and, if you can see this line here, this is where I'm supposed to place the pocket. So I'm going to go ahead and prepare the pocket. And I did a contrast color for the pockets. Here, let me take this tissue paper off so I can show you. So I use the navy blue, the same blue material that I used for the side of the bodice, the side front bodice piece. This is what I'm using for the pocket as well, to give the skirt some contrast as well. And after I place the pockets on, I will attach the skirt pieces together, so the skirt back to the skirt side front, or the skirt left and right front, and then I can apply it to the bodice. So let me show you what the bodice looks like. This is the bodice, and it will look like this relatively. My dress form is smaller than me, so I won't have this much seam allowance here taken out, so it will be out just a little bit. So the design on the front might look just a little bit different, but you get the idea. It looks gorgeous. I absolutely love the contrast, and I'm actually glad that the pieces didn't align the way I wanted, because now I get to have this beautiful piece with a contrast on it, and I really love that. So yeah, everything is coming along great, and I will continue to put all this together. Progress. Right now, I am at the stage where I'm going to transfer the button hole placements on the front edge of the skirt. So basically, all I need to do is take this tissue paper here and put it at the upper edge, as it instructs, of at the end between the end of the bodice and the top of the skirt here. So that's where I'm going to place that, and then I'm going to go ahead and transfer the marks on here, attach the buttonholes, and also do the same thing. I have to do the guide for the bodice as well, attach the buttonholes on here, and then also attach the buttons. Unfortunately, I could not find any buttons that would do this garment justice, so I have to go with some plain blue, very cheap buttons for now, and then I'm going to order some buttons on Amazon, from off of Amazon. So far, I really like this garment. I feel like, even though I shortened the straps about, I think I shortened the straps about 6 inches, which is a lot, I'm telling you. So if you're short like me, if you have a short torso like me, you're going to want to shorten the straps as well as the bodice as well. I think I could have shortened the bodice about 1.5 inches or so, particularly because the pockets, I put the pockets on the front, and they are quite low. You can't really tell that the bodice sits very low, because number one, it's supposed to be like that. So let me get the pattern. So according to the pattern, if you can see, hers drop kind of low here, almost sitting at her hips, if you can see that. At least that's how it looks to my point of view. So I can get away with having this dropped waistline. However, the pockets are very low. I cannot reach the pockets all the way at the bottom of the pocket. I can only reach about halfway. Like if I'm standing straight up, my the tip of my fingers only hit about halfway into the pocket. So it's a very, very deep pocket, and also the placement of the pocket I think needs to be brought up. And I would also, like I said, if you're short and you have a short torso like myself, I would probably raise the bodice about 1.5 to 2 inches if I were to make this again. Also, let's see, what else can I tell you? Oh, let me tell you about what I did to the inside. So the pattern tells you to whip stitch. I'm sorry about this lighting. I'm trying to adjust as the lighting outside, adjust as well. So it tells you to whip stitch. Isn't this a really cool lining? This is a calico lining from Joann's, and I wanted to have this for the outside, for the side fronts here, but I felt like it just didn't go with the fabric very well, so I decided to use it as the lining. But as you can see here, I just went ahead and whip stitched. My stitches are really small and very, very close together, so you may not be able to see them because I used like thread. So the thread is matching the bodice, and I whip stitch all the way around. Sorry, these are some loose threads. All the way around to the end, or started at the beginning of the right and went all the way down to the beginning of where the left starts. The bodice is completely attached to the skirt, and I use the whip stitch method for that. I understitched this facing here, the seam allowance of the facing. So that's that stitching. I also did, I finished off the facing as well. Let's see, that's pretty much about it. And like I said, the major thing that if you're following this little sewing vlog because you're interested in making this, I would say mostly just pay attention to the bodice and the straps. Those are probably the two main things that you would need to pay attention to on a pattern like this. And then obviously your bust area as well, just making sure that you get the bust right. Yeah, I think this, so far, I really like the pattern. If I were to make this again, I would definitely choose a different print. I love this print. I love the print and the pattern mashup. I have no issues with that. I just would prefer something that I could also wear to a casual event as well, because this print is really loud, and so this is just something really fun to do, something fun to make. I would like to make something that is a little bit more toned down so that I could wear it maybe to church or, something like that. But yeah, so let me continue on and attach the buttons and the buttonholes to the garment, and I'll hem the bottom, and then I will be done with this project. And just so that you know, I kept the selvage, and I'm just going to flip this over. The pattern calls for, I think it's a 5/8 of an inch hem allowance. I will have to reread that again because I've been working with several different patterns. But I think this gets turned over by 5/8 of an inch, and I just kept the selvage so that I don't have to do any finishings. And yeah, so that's all I have to do, and then I will be done with this project. So my final thoughts on this McCall's pattern is that I really like it, but I'm not quite for certain if I would make this pattern again yet. I just have to get some time to kind of let it sink in and reread over the directions again and see if this is something that I would like to make again. I did get a lot of comments on it on my IG account, and so I was really excited about that. And I was really grateful for the opportunity that I had to do this as a collaboration with a few girls on Instagram. So I really liked that. and I love the comments that I received on it as well. So anyway, that's all I have for this video, and thank you so much for watching and tuning in, and until next time, stay creative, my friends.